For this project, we're going to make something called initial monsters. Initials are the first letter of our first name and our first letter of our last name. For the first lesson, you're going to need 2 sheets of paper and a pencil. That's all you're going to need for this first lesson. So let's go ahead and get started. So, on the first sheet of paper, you're going to write your first initial. So for my name, Robert, my first initial would be the letter R. In the middle of my paper, and I can turn it this way, or I can turn it that way. It's up to you. I'm going to turn it this way. Because my R, I'm going to make it really big, and I'm going to draw very softly in the middle of my paper any way I want to make my letter R. But I need to make it big and in the middle of my paper. So I'm going to add some curves to it and make it a little bit fancy. That's the first step. So before I go any further, I'm going to get my second sheet of paper, and I'm going to do the same thing with my second initial. My last name is Huang, so for this one, I'm going to make a big H in the middle of my paper. And I'm drawing kind of softly because I'm going to be erasing it later. Now, after you have your 2 initials, you're going to do 1 sheet of paper at a time, and we're going to draw a box around these initials. This is just to get us started with our initial monsters. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to draw a box or a bubble letter. It's up to you. Actually, I'll do one of each so you can see both. So for this one, since it's kind of round and curvy right there, I'm going to make this a bubble letter. And what a bubble letter is you're just drawing a bubble around your letter like this. After you finish doing your bubble around your letter, you're going to erase the first letter that you drew. That's why you have to draw very softly at the beginning. And it's okay if you can still see part of the lines for this lesson. Because later on, we're going to be coloring these monsters in. So you will just have a bubble, and since the letter R has a little opening, I'm going to draw a little bubble for my opening. So that's the R for Robert. Then I'm going to take my second initial, the letter H. This time I'm going to make it a box letter instead of a bubble letter. So around the H, I'm going to put a box around it. It's like drawing a box to contain or hold the letter that you first wrote. And just like the first bubble letter I did, I'm going to erase the inside of the letter. So that's lesson 1. You're simply going to make either bubble letters or box letters of your initials. You can mix and match them. You can use both like I did, or you can do both of them in box letters or both of them in bubble letters.